Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarky visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, how are we?
Better than you, Power, I imagine. How have you pulled up?
How could it be?
I'm not too bad. I was very stiff today. I think there's a bit too much dancing done on Saturday night.
Schmitty had her
bit.
significant birthday party on Saturday night, and I have only seen a few of the photos, but it looks like there was some carnage, was there?
Yeah, there was.
A late night, a big, fast, early night. What sort of night was it?
I got to bed at 3
How did it play out?
a.m. But, it was good. I was a Vita Peron. I would have to say my best wig ever, in my opinion.
Oh.
What did you think, Clarky, of my
It was
wig?
a good wig. I did like it. Yes, it was
Took
impressive.
3 goes for me to get that right, and it still wasn't quite tight enough because
I think I'm biased. I think I preferred your Indian call centre wig when you had your party in Frome.
Oh, that was pretty good. That was just a long. You're allowed to say that. I did have.
Are we
a
allowed
party.
to say that now that I've said that? Times
It
have
wasn't-
changed. Are we
in
allowed to say
fact,
that?
It wasn't an Indian call centre party. It was a Bollywood themed party.
That's right.
And in those days, we were less concerned about cultural appropriation, but that was a cracker of a party.
That was so good. And
Everyone got
remember,
it.
like Avril doing something on a keyboard.
Yes,
out
we
the
had the
back.
keyboard
Yes.
out on the patio, and we were jamming.
Yep.
And then we had all the girls standing around the bar downstairs talking about their time in the Indian call centre, of which none of us have actually done, which was amusing. This was, just to put it in cultural context for everyone, this was, 2002 maybe? No, I bought the house in 2004, so maybe 2005.
Probably,
Anyway, we
It
had
was-
all worked with lots of call centres at that point in time, and we were
And not
we
in
were
and when we say
celebrating the
work, we
culture.
really mean work with call centre or working
Yeah.
in call centres precisely. Yes, like really firsthand.
And it was very much a
So-
celebration of culture. It wasn't derogatory in any way. But it was very,
No,
yeah.
as I said, your costume was phenomenal. It's my favourite still.
I had people
Yeah,
walk in.
it was really
There's still One
beautiful.
person who didn't
know who
even
you
know
were.
who I was.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've got blonde hair and I had a black wig
That's why it was my
Um,
favourite. It was
yeah,
stunning, and all
yeah.
of it. We all had
and
the
a
bindis on.
fabulous sari. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was such a good theme because it was so colourful and
That
beautiful.
was the early days, well, not even necessarily early days, but certainly for me and my exposure to anything that was sort of like eBay. It would be like Temu now, but
It was eBay in those
you know,
days, yeah.
you had all this stuff, and I'd be going, "Where did you get all this? I got this in bulk, and I got this." You
Yeah.
had everything. You've been on top of it, well, for decades, darling, decades.
I was all over it. I was an early adopter of eBay.
Yeah, you were.
I won't lie. This party, my original outfit was supposed to be a dress that I'd bought on AliExpress, but I got scammed. So it never showed up. So about a week before the
What?
party, I thought, oh no, I haven't got an outfit. So I went to a shop in Glenroy who happens to be, they sell a lot of materials for saris, and I bought 10 metres of a sort of a goldy colour voile with these little sparkles on it. And I made this massive skirt out of it that I put over and I did get these from Amazon, I think, 2 big fat petticoats because I was wearing,
Yeah.
it was an homage to Evita Peron's Dior dress that she wore on her
Oh.
rainbow tour in Europe. And that's what it was, yeah.
Looks pretty cool.
It
Where's
wasn't bad.
Tony?
Oh, he's the Phantom of the Opera floating around somewhere. He's
don't
in
know if
one
he's in the
photo,
photo.
but
Is
it's
he?
hard to, yeah, but he's talking to someone who's on the side. It just looks
Okay,
like a
got it.
man in a cape.
Oh, there he is.
But he
There,
did have a mask as well.
Yes, he had a
oh,
mask.
there he is. There he is talking to someone there. Yeah, I couldn't see him
Yeah.
before. I didn't realise it was him. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a photo, it must be of Woo side on. He's just been cropped. He's just having a chat with his green wig on.
The Oompa
That's
Loompas were
cute.
very funny.
Yeah.
Yes. I racked up and put on a playlist all the songs for the shows that people had dressed for.
Yeah.
And I made them come in. So the boys did a little dance to the Oompa Loompa
Little
song. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of big hands.
And you're back from Europe and you're back in the valley there, Clarky. No word today.
I know he's got a bit of bronchitis, so
Okay.
he would have sat coughing all through it.
It's after working Willy Wonka's chocolate factory doing an overtime on Saturday night. It's he
drafty.
fell into the chocolate. What's it called?
Instead of the chocolate river, he's
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
got a Lem River.
Oh.
Poor
Gross.
thing. Wish him well.
Yes, he'll be better soon.
Okay, I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmitty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarky. And together we are
Trial
by Wine.
Wine.
And what are we drinking?
Oh, I've really pushed the boat out and I've gone for a raspberry sodally.
Lovely. Refreshing.
Yes.
Is it delicious?
It's all right. I haven't had one for a while, so I'm quite enjoying it, to be fair. Probably a bit sickly if I had another one, but it's okay. What about you, Pete?
Nice.
Something more civilised, for sure?
So I also have a bit of a cough, and so I've gone with a non-alcoholic beverage, which is my trusty soda stream, but it's got some elderberry syrup, which one of our neighbours makes, and it's good for your immune
real
system.
stuff.
So
That's absolutely true. I've stuff that I give to the kids that is vitamin C with elderberry in it and have been doing for many years.
yeah,
But I bet you that's better because it's the real thing, like from next
it's
door.
made from
That's cool. I've never heard that.
trees just up the street, so it's good.
It's nearly a Hugo Spritz, kind of.
Nearly. That's what it was.
It's a soda stream Hugo Spritz.
Exactly. Yes. I'm sure Hugo would be a little bit disappointed with the kick that it gives you because it's not like a normal one.
Oh, look, stick a bit of mint in it and some ice, look like a garnish. She'll be fine, darling.
And what about you, Schmitty?
I am drinking a Brookvale Union alcoholic ginger beer. So a friend of mine brought them to the party and they were left over and I thought, that's perfect. The
You've
ginger,
sent a slab of those to us before. We've had them.
yeah, they're very
They're
nice.
the ones you sent me. Yep. Very nice.
So I'm having those, yeah. And who's got a story for us today?
Well, I have.
Excellent.
I'm going to start my story off with my sources, which are 9 News, ABC News, Wikipedia, Bonzel.com, The Australian, and Safe Work New South Wales.
Aussie story, obviously, yeah.
So I think from that you can guess that we're doing an Australian story today, and it's from Queensland.
Mm-hmm. The other
Better?
Florida.
The other Florida.
Florida, yes. But more specifically, a place called Goomboorian. Now, Swanee, I know you're going to know where.
I
You're going to
don't.
want to know where this is.
I do,
So
thank you.
Goomboorian is a rural location in the Gympie region.
Oh, Gympie.
Where
Yeah.
Okay.
everyone has Gympie legs and Gympie arms and, you know.
I can't place Gympie. Where is it?
It's kind of south of Harvey Bay from what I could
Okay.
gather. I did a bit of a quick Google just to try to get my geography up to your standard so I could answer some of the questions. Whilst I'm sure you're Googling madly to find out exactly where it is, which
I
is
am.
okay too.
Okay, so it's inland, right? Oh, yeah, it is inland, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it
it is.
It's also, you may or may not recall this from one of my stories that I did in the series of cryptozoology, but I think you'll find that there are quite a lot of yowies around the Gympie area.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe
A
that would
yowie
explain
done
this
it.
story.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep the yowie in mind as we go through the story,
Mm-hmm.
because it could well be that. In 2016, census data revealed that there were 499 people living in Goomboorian. And in 2021, that had grown to 566. I'm sure we could probably blame COVID for that, all the Victorians starting to move up to Queensland. Hopefully not wholly and solely due to births from the locals. Back growth. Now, I couldn't find a lot more about Goomboorian. However, Wikipedia says that Goomboorian Provisional School opened in the 3rd of February 1902. On the 1st of January, it became Goomboorian State School, and it closed in 1967. TripAdvisor, on the other hand, lists the top things to do in Goomboorian as Gympie National Park, coming in at number 1. Number 2, Goomboorian National Park, and there is no number 3. So I'm not sure that it's not a very big list. But if you like national parks, sounds like a good spot. However, there is a war memorial hall in Goomboorian as well as a play-along activity centre.
Cool.
Now, Bonzel.com says there's also a service station.
I've never heard of Bonzel.com. What am I
Me
missing?
neither.
Oh, right.
I
I didn't know. I thought
know.
I might have been missing something there.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that you are, but
No.
that's what it says. So Bonzel also says that in terms of people aged 15 years or more living in Goomboorian, 55% are married. I'm hoping they're not 15. 9% are divorced. 3% are separated. 6% are widowed. And 27% have never married. So that is a brief rundown of Goomboorian, and now let's get on to the story. And you're probably wondering about all those percentages of marriages and stuff, but, you know, keep that in mind too. So let's head back to the night of the 12th of November 2017. Emergency services receive a call just before 8 p.m. reporting a terrible accident. A man had fallen into a wood chipper at a property on Tanana Road.
Straight out the books.
Yeah.
Whoops. Oh, God.
Yeah. Awful. Now, I'm no Einstein, and I've kind of thought, fell into a wood chipper.
Whoops.
Like, is that even a thing? I did a bit of research.
Yeah.
A bit of Googling, and you would recall that one of my references to Safe Work New South Wales.
Yes, it was.
There's a fair bit that comes up on wood chipper accidents.
Yep.
But first, before we get into safe work, first up, the American Journal of Industrial Medicine did a study into workers that are killed every year in America due to incidents involving wood chippers, despite hazard warnings. And they found that between 1982 and 2016, 113 people were killed. The study found that 57 people were killed after being struck by wood chippers, and 41 people died after being caught in the machines. So that's nearly one a year. Like, that's gruesome. So I'm going to say nearly one a year. It's more than one a year, but only just. Study also noted that fully automatic feed wheel stop devices are needed to prevent incidents where people become trapped in wood chippers. Safe Work New South Wales provides a list of the potential hazards of operating wood chippers. The list outlines some of the common wood chipper hazards and risks that can cause fatal or serious injuries to wood chipper operators. Being drawn into the machine.
Because it pulls you in, doesn't it? Like once it's got you, it'll pull you in. Yeah.
Coming into contact with the blades, becoming entangled in the branches or attached ropes and being drawn into the wood chipper. So if you forget to let go of the branch or if it catches your sleeve, because they pull the branch in, they'll pull you in with it.
Yeah.
Being struck by ejected materials. Being struck by feed-in branches, limbs or logs, being struck by kicking wood, crush injuries, exposure to noise from the wood chipper. That would probably be one of my more favourite injuries. If I had to get one, I'd probably want that rather than some of those others. Being struck by passing vehicle when the wood chipper is parked on the road. Oof. And manual handling injuries. So safe to say, there really is nothing safe about working with wood chippers.
No.
Right, so back to the story. So the call comes in, emergency services get straight onto the reported incident, and when the crews arrive 30 minutes later, they are confronted with a gruesome scene.
Oh, God.
I don't know if I can listen to this. Shall I take my...
You can take your headphones off now or at any point during the
rest of the
sentences.
I'm just going to take them off, right? Go.
So blood and human remains are scattered for 15 metres around the chute of a wood chipper, and a pair of legs protrudes from the blades.
Oh, God.
Detectives also find a pool of blood approximately 2.5 metres from the machine. Right, so I think that's the gory bit done, Swanee, if you want to come back.
Right. Pool of blood, though, 2.5 metres away. Is that because it sort of threw the blood out as it worked? We'll get to it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
but it does seem odd, doesn't it?
Or someone struck you on the head and you bled
put you
there,
in.
and then they put you in. Yeah.
So first responders...
you're no Einstein and I'm no forensic scientist.
But I have done a few podcasts and I smell a rat.
Yeah.
First responders are met by two distressed men, Peter Koenig and Gregory Rosa, who state that their friend Bruce Saunders had accidentally fallen into the wood chipper and that he'd been careless and casual around the machine all day.
Oh, God.
So the story, now that I know about all of the hazards around working with wood chippers...
Swanee's pretending to be careless and casual.
You're so laissez-faire. Oh, don't mind me, you know. I'm just so casual around the wood chipper. Leaning on it. Oh, don't mind me.
Put your hair in it. Yeah, that'll be it. Oh, God.
I
don't know about you guys, but I'm always terrified. Like, I'm so... the other way than casual and laissez-faire around most machinery.
Oh, same here. I'm scared of those things in people's kitchen sinks. We don't have one, but that thing terrifies me.
Yes, even those.
You tell me one of these stories once. I've heard of like people's hair getting sucked into spa bath vents. I would never put my hair. Like there's all these things that I just, I've heard it once as a child or whatever else. That's it. So it's totally off limits to me. No, cannot.
Block it out. Not to be done. Whilst the story did seem plausible, police weren't willing to write this off as a tragic accident and decided to do a bit of digging.
Good on him.
Let's talk a little bit about Bruce Saunders, the man in the wood chipper.
The man
Bruce was
all
54
over the
at the
ground
time of his
at this point,
The
except for his
man-
legs.
Man the wood chipper.
Oh,
the man in the
Swanee
wood
missed
chipper
that, 'cause and his
15
legs
metres
protruding.
away.
Oh, bleh. Oh, it's awful.
Probably slight irony, he was a butcher by trade.
Oh, yeah, like
He
he
was
wouldn't have to be
a
around the machines.
Mm.
Wouldn't be happy getting butchered.
No, I know, that's
no.
for
He was
sure.
a generous and caring man who wore his heart on his sleeve and was loved by everyone. So after his first wife died and a second marriage failed, friends said Mr. Saunders was desperate for love.
Oh.
He had recently met a woman named Sharon Graham on an online dating site and believed he'd found his new life partner.
Mm.
He'd even bought her an engagement ring.
Oh.
It's been said that
How
he would have done
long?
anything
Like from the
just
time you met her
recently.
so that was all moving fast then.
Oh,
From
yeah,
his
not
marriage.
long. It was, I think it was less than a year. So it was said that he bought her an engagement ring and it was said that he would have done anything for her. However, they separated.
Yeah.
When
Oh.
police looked into his finances, they discovered that he had a life insurance policy that was worth $500,000.
There we go.
And shortly before his death, he had upped it to $750,000
Mm.
and had listed Graham as the sole beneficiary, excluding his son from the will.
Little dick.
From the whole will, not just the life insurance.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
He also recently had purchased a house and had an $80,000 death benefit in his superannuation. They also found out that Bruce and Sharon had separated but were living in separate bedrooms in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
So they started looking into both Peter and Greg, the two men on site when the accident happened. Firstly, Peter Koenig. Peter was a truck driver who was an acquaintance of Bruce's. The two met through Bruce's girlfriend, Sharon. Sharon and Peter had met when they both lived in South Australia. At that time, she was the girlfriend of Peter's boss, Barry Collins. When they moved to Queensland, Koenig decided to follow.
Mm.
Koenig had been described as someone who followed Sharon Graham around.
Mm.
Oh.
That sounds a bit creepy, doesn't it? He moved with Graham to multiple locations in Queensland, and when they weren't living together, visited and stayed with her on a weekly or fortnightly basis.
Oh, what for? Friends with benefits or just friends?
They had a tortured friendship, apparently, which was occasionally intimate and sexual.
Yeah.
Koenig admitted to taking naked pictures of Graham and photographing her performing sex acts on him. So
Mm.
that's Peter.
Just friends then, okay.
So Greg Rosa met.
Don't imagine what Greg's got happening.
Greg Rosa was also an acquaintance of Sharon Graham, and the two had met in mid-2017. Also a truck driver who worked for Barry Collins, he met Graham through an online dating website. He was described by Mr. Fuller. Sorry, Mr. Fuller is basically a lawyer,
Right.
which will come out later. He was described by Mr. Fuller as aggressive, didn't have a lot of money, and wasn't stable. He lived in a caravan park when he met Graham and started their relationship in mid-2017 while Graham was still living with Mr. Saunders. The court also heard that Bruce Saunders' friends had recalled he knew there was another man on the scene named Greg Rosa, but was introduced to him as Roger, so he would not suspect he was the Greg who was in the relationship with Sharon. So when they're all doing this work together, he knows Greg as Roger.
Right.
So police had discovered that the three men on site that day had all been in a relationship with Sharon Graham at various times.
Shazza.
So who is Sharon Graham?
She's got a bit of magic pee.
Mm.
Potentially.
Would take for that to come out.
She's not a
I
union
know.
boss, not the same one.
No.
Sharon was approximately 56 at the time of Bruce's death, and she was described as the woman who bound all three men together.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Mr. Fuller again described the situation as three men who were apparently so devoted to her and would seemingly do anything for her continued affection.
Mm.
And Swanee, to your point earlier, guess who's back? Back again. MP's back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Oh, God. It's been a while, actually. I don't feel like we've had one in a while, but here she is.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah.
why that country. You just said it. Sharon didn't have a job.
She did. Yes, she did. She had a job. She had a
She was
job
busy.
manipulating all the men around her and trying to get their cash. That's a job. It's full time.
But obviously she was very lucky that her ex-partner Bruce Saunders had decided to leave his estate to her, securing her financial future should he pass away.
I'm still unconvinced that he decided that, but all right. Maybe if he was terribly enamoured by her, perhaps.
Sharon was actually in a very awkward position where she had a choice. She had to make a choice between two men and their two very different lifestyles. That is, she had to choose between...
Swanee's hard-thinking face. What to do?
What to do?
To do.
Do I stay with Mr. Saunders, who's got good money, good job, maybe a bit boring, or do I go off with Greg or Roger?
Rosa?
Rosa.
Yeah, Roger.
Yeah, but they call him Roger as well. Yeah, Greg or
Yeah.
Roger. Do I go with Roger Rosa?
Rosa. Yeah.
Who is he living in a caravan, did you say?
A man who struggled to make ends meet, who lived in a caravan park,
Yes.
and whose relationship with her was tumultuous.
Well, it's the drama. It's the drama. It's exciting.
So the plot thickened for the cops, and they decided it was time to start tapping some phones.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, Greg, I didn't tell you to do that.
So, as I said, and Schmitty, you were all over this. Investigators found a pool of blood on the feeder tray of the wood chipper and drag marks in the dirt.
What
Forensic
idiots.
scientists determined that the blood pool proved Mr. Saunders' body was stationary for a period of time, which was not consistent with someone being suddenly and unexpectedly dragged through the machine. Rosa and Connie in an incident.
Swanee, I know it's terrible, but hopefully he had passed
Was dead
before he
before
went
that,
through the
yeah.
machine. Yeah.
Oh, God, I hope so, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just can't even. Oh, it's so
could you think of
bad.
anything worse?
Ew. Yes, on a
I
par
mean,
at
yeah,
least.
of course you could.
Shark,
yeah,
being eaten by sharks up there for
Most
me. But
people couldn't.
She'd add it to her list of
horrible
macabre
deaths.
ways
Yeah.
to die.
Ways to go.
Ways
Used
to
to
die.
When they pointed this out to Rosa and Koenig, they claimed a tree branch had fallen on Mr. Saunders while he was working at the Tanana Road property.
It was being all casual.
And he very casually
was
got
being
up and threw
casual,
himself
yeah.
into the chipper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. The police, in searching the homes, also found some notes at Rosa's property, both in his handwriting. The first note stated 3:30 to 4 a.m. has to be there before he wakes. Alarm goes off around 4:30 a.m. Bedroom is directly through the roller door, straight down the hallway, bottom of the hallway, night light in the kitchen. Dates to be done 14th of July to 23rd of July in Adelaide. They also discovered
ways
that...
to kill. So many dumb ways. Like, what idiots. Yeah, go on. What's on the second note that's so incriminating?
Well, no, before we get to the second note, they also
Right.
discovered that Sharon had booked a flight to Adelaide in February 2017 for the 14th of July.
Oh, what a coinkydink.
So she's off to Adelaide during the dates to be done period.
What's to be done?
Wonder why she had to work so far in advance. Like February to July, she's given herself a bit of time for planning. And is that right?
Well, yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yes.
She had to
Wow.
book her flights and get organised.
Yeah, it's not like she was in a
Just
massive
didn't
hurry.
look- Just so it didn't look like she was involved, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
So another note was found detailing Mr. Saunders' work schedule, a description of his car and number plate, where he worked, and what time he usually arrived. The police determined that these notes were evidence of planning to murder Saunders and that the murder was to be carried out when Graham was interstate. For whatever reason, they decided not to proceed with this plan. As I said, they started planting audio and video cameras in various parts of the home, picking up the whispered conversations between Graham, Rosa and Koenig. The recordings vary from louder conversations where Graham expresses that she had asked Mr. Saunders to lower his life insurance policy to hushed discussions about getting their story straight.
These are conversations she's having with the guys after the fact.
After the fact, yeah.
And
But if she's saying,
reached
I
out,
told him to put his money down, it makes it sound like
Correct.
she thinks that they're being
Yeah.
bugged. Yeah.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And if she really did, she should have turned on the music.
Right. Or
You
the
know what
tap.
I mean?
They often turn a tap on. Go in the
Something to make
bathroom
it
and turn a
background
tap on.
noise. Yeah.
The recordings also captured the trio having extensive conversations in Graham's parked car in the garage.
Ha ha.
Then in February 2018, police again interviewed Koenig. That night they captured recordings of Graham and Rosa talking. Graham can be heard telling Rosa that Koenig texted her and said, "I'm home and not fucking happy with someone. Someone's a liar." "Oh, babe, I hope you haven't gone against him," Graham says. Rosa replies, "I have not. And I haven't fucking gone against anything. I told him exactly what I fucking said."
Were these text messages, did you say?
No, this is the conversation.
Oh, okay. Because it's a lot to type out fucking all that many times. Yeah.
Koenig had texted Sharon,
Right.
and then they're talking about the text.
Okay.
Graham says, "Be careful that they're not trying to come between you. They told Peter you said blah, 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 and Peter's gone, that ain't fucking true. So something's now happened. Now, oh my God, see, that's what we didn't want. Your story and his story not telling the same."
Oh, no.
That won't work.
Rosa continues to stress that he hadn't said the wrong thing. "Oh, I hope you haven't," Sharon says.
Or you'll end up in a chipper. Oh, don't. Oh.
Let me introduce you to my instincerator.
Oh,
You may not know what you've said wrong. You may have told them a story that you're not too sure of. Rosa replied, "The only thing I can think of is about a fuck up on the lights. They know they can't break you, but they can break Peter. They always go for the quiet one," Sharon says.
She's very knowledgeable about police process, isn't she? Mm.
I think she's very knowledgeable about scheming and conniving.
Oh, conniving, I like it.
And manipulation, maybe. In earlier interviews, police had questioned the two men about their collection of what happened on the night, and they had varying collections about what kind of lighting they used
Recollection,
when they
surely.
walked up the driveway. What did I say?
Collections. They have various
correct.
collections.
Varying recollections is exactly what it says. After all of this, Rosa, Graham and Koenig were arrested and charged with Bruce Saunders' murder in mid-2018.
Good.
And Graham was right. They did break Peter.
oh.
But he kept silence about the murder for nearly 5 years before finally coming clean to police in 2022.
No, it's conscience.
What?
Control, isn't it?
Yep.
So
But he found God.
where had Sandra been the whole time? Just living a life.
Sharon.
Sharon.
Sandra. Sharon Graham, sorry.
Yeah, so they were all arrested and charged in 2018. So I think they must have been going through the court process,
Yep.
which just must have gone on for
no,
quite
no,
some
no,
time.
Okay, right, got it. Okay, so they weren't just out.
Well, they might have been out if they'd been able to post bail. It depends on whether they were
True.
remanded or not. It sounds like they weren't remanded.
Yeah, quite possibly. Anyway, 2022, he comes clean. He tells the investigators Sharon had asked him on at least 2 occasions to kill Bruce, but he had refused.
Far out.
However, he confessed to helping Rosa dispose of the body in the wood chipper.
Ugh.
Koenig was released on bail after agreeing to testify in both Rosa and Graham's trial. He pleaded guilty to being accessory after the fact to murder and received a suspended sentence. Now, Rosa's trial, Rosa pleaded not guilty to Bruce's murder, but after a month-long trial, a jury found him guilty. He told investigators Graham had asked him on at least 2 occasions to kill Mr. Saunders, but he had refused.
No, I will not.
Yeah, we'll not.
No,
We'll not.
no, and don't ask me again, please.
So he
No.
said that Sharon had
I
plotted
won't.
for months to kill Saunders, asking him to carry out up to 3 different murder plans, at one stage borrowing Koenig's handgun. But, Swanee, he refused.
No,
No.
thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you very much, but no.
She eventually hatched an idea to make it look like an accident with a chipper, this time roping in both Koenig and Rosa, the court heard. Rosa admitted Graham had procured him and that he lied about the death being an accident, even telling police that he tried to save Saunders, who he claimed was reckless around the chipper. Rosa moved into Saunders' bedroom with Graham the night after his murder. So he being Greg, had pointed the finger at Peter, who he claimed had mafia connections and once boasted of pushing a man into a meat grinder.
That's a big bloody
Saunders
grinder.
was killed. There was no evidence of that, I don't think. But anyway, Saunders was killed after becoming embroiled in a love quadrangle, the court heard. Graham was living with Saunders, albeit in separate bedrooms, and was in a relationship with Rosa. Rosa also said that he told the jury if he did not help Peter, he would end up like Bruce. After a month-long trial, he was in fact sentenced to life in prison for murder. Now, Sharon was the last of the 3 to be brought to justice. Of course, she pleaded not guilty to murder and claimed she genuinely thought her ex-partner's death was an accident. She denied counselling Rosa to kill him. At the trial, her friend Kim Simpson told Brisbane Supreme Court Graham had split with Mr. Saunders but moved back into his Nambour home, living in separate bedrooms. She said Graham had called her crying hysterically and telling her one of the guys had fallen into the wood chipper. A week or two later, Graham asked Miss Simpson to write a letter to her lawyer after earlier mentioning that Mr. Saunders had left everything to her. She asked me if I could write a letter to her lawyer saying that her and Bruce were in a relationship at the time of his death because of the insurance. I asked if she wrote the letter. Miss Simpson said no, because it wasn't true.
Good on you, Kim.
Hey, Kimmy.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought she would have been scared of
Sharon.
Nice.
Well, she's immune to MP, so she wasn't bothered. So you know the Jedi mind tricks that they use in Star Wars to make people say things, and then every now and then there's someone who's immune to them.
Right.
So the court was told there had allegedly been several variations to the murder plot concocted over a number of months, which included, the shooting one in his home or while he was driving to work. So also at the funeral, Sharon sat in the front row next to his family members and cried. In sentencing, Justice Martin Burns said Sharon displayed all of the hallmarks of deep-seated psychopathy. After a 3-week trial, a Supreme Court jury found her guilty of murder. She was sentenced to life in prison like her lover, Rosa.
Woohoo!
Now, I thought I would try to give you a bit of a background as to what actually happened on the night, because whilst the truth of what happened will only ever be known by Peter and Greg, there was a full picture painted of what had happened.
I hate that Peter and Greg sound like they're from the Brady Bunch.
And Sharon wasn't Marsha.
No, Marsha. Peter and Greg. It's like Peter and Greg. What did they do?
Alice would have stopped them.
Yeah, for sure.
The morning of, Bruce, Peter and Greg arrive at the Gympie property. The land belonged to Sharon Byton, who was B-E-I-G-H-T-O-N, who was Graham's close friend. Miss Byton's husband had recently died, and Sharon had organised for the 3 men to help clear some trees on the property to increase its value prior to selling.
Was it Sharon's idea, perhaps, that they could do that?
It was, yeah. She was very happy to offer the labour.
Yes, I bet. Oh, you know what would be a good idea, love, is if you just got rid of some of the trees around here. Actually, I know someone who can probably help you out with that. Leave it with me.
Give me a sec. So on November the 5th, during the second weekend of clearing, Peter overheard Sharon asking Greg why Bruce hadn't been killed.
Get on with it.
He replied there were too many people around and the machine was playing up as
mechanical errors, isn't it?
She responded with, just got to be done.
She sounds like a mum. Sounds like something I'd say.
Yeah.
Just got to be done.
I don't want to hear about it again. Just have it done. Next time I speak to you, I want to hear that it's been done.
Exactly right. No more excuses. So on the 12th of November, which is the day, it was the third weekend in a row the trio had gone out to the property. They hired a truck, chainsaws, tools, and an industrial-sized wood chipper, which Bruce had paid for.
Oh, imagine having to clean that.
Oh, he'd paid for it.
Poor Bruce,
He paid for it. As it began to get dark, after a day of heavy labour, because they don't do it early on, they need to get maximum labour value, the group turned off the wood chipper and started to walk up the driveway towards Miss Byton's home, where she was asleep inside. Sometime after 6:59 p.m...
It's very specific.
Things took a sinister turn. Peter recalled that he was leading the group when he felt Mr. Saunders fall forward and brush his arm. I looked around and he was laying on the ground, he said at the trial. Greg was standing over him with the steel bar. The bar had been used earlier in the day to push vegetation debris further into the wood chipper. He clubbed him on the head and then again and again.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Peter turns around and goes, "What the fuck have you done?" Or something similar to that.
Sure.
Words along those lines.
He couldn't be Pacific. Greg said, "I've killed him. He's dead." So the pair took him back to the wood chipper, and Koenig, of course, had to help because Greg had a bad back, so he couldn't do it by himself. They turned it on and placed Bruce in the machine's feeder tray. Peter found a stick and used the stick to put his arm into the rollers to take him in.
Oh, it's revolting.
So the machine just started taking him in, and then Peter hit the stop button on the side of the machine because leaving his leg sticking out would make it look more like an accident. I mean, would it? I don't really know.
It probably would if you have to get to turn the machine off if you were there, right? You weren't going to let the whole thing go through. If something happens, you'd panic and get the machine turned off as quickly as possible.
It almost seems more plausible to say we weren't near him. By
Yeah.
the time we got back here, he'd gone through. I don't know.
Depends what your story is, I guess.
I'm guessing you had to let his head go through, though, so that there wouldn't be sign of
Yeah. No.
blunt force trauma.
Blunt force trauma. I mean, the blood a bit away, though, is a bit of a problem, isn't it?
Well, I mean, honestly, they're a bit foolish about all this, but yeah.
Schmitty smells amateurs when she hears this. She's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I wouldn't have
Amateurs.
started like that.
She's sort of got her arms crossed going, get to the point.
Bunch
These
of
guys are
dickheads.
amateurs.
Yeah.
And that's why they get caught.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still free. Justice Martin Burns, who was the one overseeing it, when he handed down the life sentence to Sharon, he told the court that Bruce was a good man who was kind and generous to a fatal fault. He had something of a relationship with a woman who decided that he had to be killed. Justice Burns told the court it was clear that Bruce was in the clutch of a rare brand of evil. Is there like a dark magic pussy? What's the,
In our
evil?
experience, a lot of them are. That's the thing.
Most of them are. There's one.
Well,
You're a
we've
black
had
magic pussy.
We've had no
Black
cause to meet
magic pussy.
white magic. That would
No.
be a different podcast.
Correct.
A very
Very
different
true.
podcast.
So, yeah, with the fact that it was a rare brand, I submit to you, Justice Burns, that it's not as rare as you may think it
That's
is.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So he then goes on to say, has no doubt she was the mastermind, and he said that Greg's treatment of Bruce was beyond the imagination of any decent human being, and his actions had caused immeasurable and ongoing grief to his family. But you were not a decent human being. Far from it, he said. You were prepared to snuff out the life of another human being, and based on such a flimsy connection, and this makes you a particularly dangerous individual.
Yeah.
She really is, actually.
Yes. That's awful. And so then I just thought I'd finish on a word from his family, because, I mean, clearly we've talked through all of what happened and made a little bit light of it, but it is important to realise just how bad
It's
this
horrendous.
stuff is.
And this guy was just living his life, being a good guy. This is horrendous.
100%. And so he'd left all of that money to Sharon, and there was no evidence that she had
tampered with it.
forced that.
Okay.
Yeah. So as the jury returned a guilty verdict, Bruce's family released a cry of relief and sobbed from the gallery. After 6 years of torment, they were finally able to feel a sense of closure. Outside court, they cried and hugged the lawyer and the detectives who investigated the case, the lawyer being Mr. Fuller. Bruce's son Blake said, it's been near impossible weight to carry for the past 6 years. Thinking about this constantly and dreading the worst decision would come, but we got the best one, so I couldn't be happier.
Good.
Ever since I lost my mum to breast cancer, Dad was the only one I had left. And
So
to lose
sad.
him, it was nearly an impossible blow to keep going. Could you imagine? Bruce's brother Colin broke down while speaking to reporters. My brother was loved by everyone. He was always a happy person, and he'd help anyone do anything for anyone, which he did, he said. The day I found out he was murdered, I couldn't believe it, because he's such a nice person. Why would anyone do that for money? And that is the story of Sharon and her massive MP.
The thing that gets me about it is how long it took, like how long she plotted it. Like that's the callousness, because she wasn't even in a relationship with him for very long. So she must have, like you said, they were fairly recent. She was living with him, but she must have started thinking about this for months.
Yeah.
Months and months in advance of his death. It's just, it's extraordinary. And it's, if she did go around saying you better do it or you'll end up like him, or, get on with it. Come on, stop mucking around. It needs to be done. It's just like, to the judge's point about it being a psychopath, it really is. It's like there's no empathy or emotional consideration for anything. And there's also no consideration for the two idiots that did it for her. And she
had no boundaries.
She's
None.
evil.
Because
Yeah,
she just
really
was
evil.
so, if she'd had some
Selfish.
feelings or some kind of, I really want the money, but I don't want him to suffer, or I don't want him to, do you know what I mean? Just then, is there a way that he could, I need to get rid of him, but I don't want him to, no. She's like, not bothered at all.
Whatever, just do
Means
it.
to an end,
Just get it
whatever,
done.
just do it. And if that's the way we're going to do it, that's the way we'll do it. I've got an idea.
And just for money.
Oh, God.
You know, how foul.
There's nothing else about anything in her past. Like, you know, do you do this just the once, or does she have a past history of this from South Australia? So not killing people, but using people up.
There was nothing that came up, but, you know, it's an interesting thing that she's got these men, one who's followed her from South Australia when she's moved.
Do we know if she had a family, like her parents, or did she have children? No.
I don't know. There was no mention of children or anything, which is often, that's one of the first things that comes up.
True.
But the backstory, there wasn't a lot about her backstory that I could find, to be honest. But,
as is often the case. Crazy.
Yes, crazy old mole.
Crazy old mole. Crazy old mole.
In this photo, there's a photo on like the ABC website. She's with Bruce. She looks so normal.
Yeah.
She looks less sort of tarty as well. She looks like just a normal sort of old
That's
woman.
what I couldn't believe. She actually looks like a, normal kind of housewife. You don't sort of see, I mean, I guess you can't really tell what people look like.
There's photos of her with Bruce where they look really happy and very, well, it's matched as a couple. Then there's a couple of photos of her where she's looking a little bit sexier and more, like... well, I don't know what that one's about, but anyway. But you know what I mean?
She's just enjoying a lounge there. She's just having a little lounge.
Fair enough.
But look at what she's wearing. She's not just enjoying the lounge.
She is the lounge. She's got some interesting teasing going on with her hair there. These blokes, I tell you, you're right about her looking quite normal in some photos and then not looking normal in others. Yeah, I think it's all the selection of photos. That's not good, is it? That one.
Is he about to slap her, or has he got her by the neck, or what?
That's Mr. Rosa. Got a hand around her neck.
Yeah.
Anyway, to sentencing. Thoughts? In some ways, I feel sorry for her two stupid accomplices, but then I think, well, you got your comeuppance because you went ahead with it. I'm not sure about this. The Mr. I just helped him put the body in the.
Yeah,
I'm not buying that either. I don't agree with that either.
I think that's more a case of the police needed someone to talk and
plea deal.
They would go with his story if he got the others convicted.
Also, if you were that kind of anti it, wouldn't you have warned the bloke or gone to the police yourself saying, this woman has repeatedly asked for us to kill this other guy? To your point, Swanee. Thank you, but no. I don't think I'll do that. But also, you've got enough of a conscience.
Not to go to the police and say, tell you what, I think she's thinking about knocking him off.
She's literally asked me to kill him. Yeah.
More than once.
Other than this podcast, how often does killing people come up in general conversation? Like, it is
sprayed drink through my nose.
Yes.
If we were at anyone's house and they're talking about, get a gun and shoot him on the way to work or something, it's straight away go, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm out of here, and maybe I should report that to someone because it doesn't sound right. Yeah, because you all think, well, I'd hate to be the person that heard that, did nothing, and then heard on the radio that someone's gone on a rampage, and it turns out to be the person who basically signaled to you that they were going to do that. So I don't know. I think you're right. I think that's some kind of plea deal.
I mean, the chip is obviously an excellent way of punishing someone, not murdering an innocent person, but perhaps punishing a guilty one. It just doesn't feel right.
No, it's not. I know what you mean. Like it's a gratuitous punishment, and it was a gratuitous way of getting rid of evidence, which is, I'm hoping, what really happened. Because forensically...
100% hoping he was already dead before...
Well, I mean, it depends on how much blood was on the ground from where they put his body. Because the reality is, if you're bleeding a lot, then you're probably still alive because your heart's still pumping.
Yeah, he may have been unconscious.
Well, yeah, I mean, I reckon he probably was out of it.
I've got a punishment.
Off she goes.
I think I have. I think what I'd like to see happen to Sharon is I'd like Sharon to live a long life. I'd like her to live a long life in prison. And I want her to have a really fucking awful time there. I want people to be totally against her. I want the people who are the nastiest people in the prison system to target her. I want her to feel what it feels like to have other people make decisions that affect your life that you can't seem to overcome no matter what you do. So she's got no control in the situation, and it never gets any better for her. She is branded, labelled as what people know exactly what she's done, and no one's there is there to forgive her. Everyone is there to just remind her of that constantly so that she can never escape from what she's done. And if her conscience ever should kick in, which I doubt it would anyway, there'd be some solace in that. But it's more I want her to feel when she has no power, which she's clearly used over men in her life and, situations where she wanted money or whatever else. She's got nothing to offer anybody. So she's just suffering for a very long time.
Yes, I like her. I like the idea of her suffering a lot.
Just suffering, and not put her in a wood chipper and whatever else, because once done, right? But really having to feel something, really make her feel it. I wanted to, that's probably, I guess, a personality like her. She probably won't, but I can only imagine it over a long period of time. Always feeling that people are after you, always feeling that you've got no way of redemption or way of improving your relationship with people because everybody knows what you did and nothing's going to change. That's just going to stay like that for the rest of your very long life in prison.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Schmitty, Clarky, anyone?
My issue with Sharon is, and we've discussed this a couple of times in other episodes, she's sitting there. I mean, she's not even paying hitmen, right? She's just demanding that these people carry out her dirty work for her. And even when they're not doing it or they're not comfortable, just do it. Why is it taking so long? Hurry up and do it. Like, why don't you do it? If it's that important to you, why don't you freaking have the balls to do it yourself? Not that I agree with the killing anyway, but that way of going about it, it's so, do your own dirty work, you dirty mole. So maybe she should just spend the rest of her life doing the dirty work and not necessarily killing people, but I think, the toilets and the washing up and the scrubbing of the floors with a toothbrush.
There'd be lots of horrible jobs in prison, things related to, I don't know, kitchens and sewerage.
Yeah, there'd have to be. The laundry. I mean, laundry, if there's people doing meth in the prisons, the laundry must be pretty messed up. Oh, there'd be a lot of that, wouldn't there?
If there's one thing we've learnt about methamphetamines, it makes you shit yourself. Yep.
Who's learnt that? You guys learnt this in the crime that you did?
We've done.
Oh, no. The Betty Crocker incident?
Loads of stories.
Oh, yeah. That was my story, I think.
The stapler in the toilet.
I did one from Florida where a guy was on meth on the house, remember? He was on the roof and then he came in and then he pooed in their house.
Yes.
For no good
reason.
She could look after meth pants.
Yeah.
And washing of meth pants.
Oh,
I like it.
Maybe that particular prison can take in used nappies, obviously not disposables, but people who have a service where because they feel like they want to save the environment, so they have the terry toweling ones, and she has to wash dirty nappies for the rest of her life. Wash dirty nappies without gloves.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you, Schmitty?
Oh, look, I'm struggling a bit. I'm quite happy to go along the same themes that you guys have around just kind of a bit of social isolation, no one ever listening to her again, so she can't manipulate anyone. Certainly, not having her around men who she can manipulate or work her black magic on. I agree with you about doing your own dirty work, so she gets to do all the dirty work. I'm happy with that. They're good sentences. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks for that. I felt a bit like it was awful.
I feel really bad for the family.
So do I.
I know, right? And for Bruce.
He just looks like such a nice, normal guy. A nice normal dad, friend.
Yeah, I agree.
So just want a nice girlfriend to go and do stuff with.
And everyone said he was like that.
I know.
A sad story that you've brought us there, Clarky, but I'm glad that they all got locked up where they belong.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. All right, well, and on that note, as we say every week, miss you already. Ciao.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.